Mr. Luyanda Peter, I am Sasha
Yes.
Narushkin. You're aware
Good day, Mr. Narishkin.
because that is one of our topics. What are our 5 topics today? And just remind me of our rules, please, Mr. Peter.
So, 5 topics today. Sia and Rassie. We're calling it, Is It the Ultimate Partnership? Weekend rugby preview. There's a few games on the go this weekend. Most watched sport in SA. Then, interesting one, greatest once-off performances by a South African. And then, of course, our first 5 facts to end off the show.
Yes, where we try and stump one another. But no, that's not the reason. Let's get right into it. Sia and Rassie starting the timer. I've written down a few things here. I remember Jenny and Forrest were like carrots and peas, but to put a more South African spin on it, what goes better than papa and shisanyama, brandy and coke, dunking a rusk in your coffee, or Mrs. Balls on anything? What is it, Mr. Peter?
Well, I'm gonna say Rassie and Sia.
Yes, but why? Do you know some of the history around where they first met, what forged their partnership, and where it came obviously a full circle to 2018, where he was appointed Boks captain by Rassie? Do you know some of their early history?
I think try and share that with us, please.
Okay, so Sia and Rassie are actually born, as the crow flies, about 10 kilometers from one another. So Zwede is a township in Gqeberha, Port Elizabeth, and Dispatch is a town just to the east. Quite a tough working neighborhood. Both of them had pretty tough upbringings. Rassie's father obviously struggled with alcoholism. Sia, by the time he was 16 and at Grey, had lost his mom, his aunt, and his gran, all big figures in his life. It's quite interesting how he became a rugby player, quite passionate about rugby from a young age. And more to your point about being on free-to-air TV, he watched a lot of rugby on SABC. So there's the importance of the national broadcaster. Went to Grey, actually played third team, believe it or not, after he had captained under 16As. I would have thought he would have gone straight into firsts. Western Province Academy, and that's the first time actually that he crossed paths with Rassie, who fast-tracked him into the U19 side at Western Province. Is that right?
Okay. Yeah, interesting stuff.
And then at the age of 21, he did something that Rassie never did. He actually won the Currie Cup as a player. Rassie's never won the Currie Cup as a player. And of course, this weekend, Sia Kolisi will step out for his 100th test match and Rassie Erasmus' 50th test match as coach. So if you include his technical advisor stuff, I think it comes to around 89 or 90 games where he's been.
So here's a question for you, Sash. I've got for you. If Jacques Ninaba is put down as the 2023 rugby winning captain,
coach,
what does this mean for Rassie? Coach, sorry. What does this mean for Rassie? Does this mean that Rassie has won 2 Rugby World Cups or not?
No, I guess strictly speaking, not as a coach, but part of the technical staff. So, you know, Eddie Jones can put on his CV that he's won a World Cup because he was with the Springboks in 2007. So I guess it depends. And if you're part of the biggest squad and you've played a role in the tournament, you also put that down. But quite an interesting how Sia came into rugby and started playing U9 for the African Bombers, which are actually a rugby club founded in Zwede. Obviously scratch around for kit and stuff like that. And that's also at the core of money in rugby needs to be distributed a little bit more widely, right? So you can catch more Sia Kolisis out there. And in fact, there is a young guy who ended up going to Graham College, who's just turned out for the Barbarians over the weekend. Also comes from the same club, African Bombers, as a youngster.
Yeah, he actually went to a high school called Nzondelelo High. They get invited to quite a few rugby tournaments. So one of the tournaments they play at is the Grey High School in PE tournament. So he played for Graham College. 2 years ago, he played against Kingswood. We were lucky to get him sent off in the first 5 minutes, and Kingswood won the game. So there you go. But coming back to Sia and Rassie, I mean, just this weekend, one getting his 50th cap as a coach, the other one getting his 100th cap as a player. I mean, it just shows that there are two worlds we're supposed to collide, because where else would you get something like this? It's I mean, the story you were just telling is just it's incredible, and I think South Africa has been blessed with the two of them. As we mentioned a few episodes ago, we both put Sia as among our greatest athletes from South Africa, and I think Rassie will go down as one of the greatest coaches in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to stick my neck out and go greatest ever coach, greatest ever captain of Springbok rugby.
100%. 100%. Cool.
Straight into our next topic, which is also rugby. The Boks take on France in a box office very late night. Now, I've done some research onto why it's so late at night here in France. Okay, so the kickoff local time is 21:10 because there's a 24-hour clock here in France. And why is that, Mr. Peter? Well, I'll tell you why. Because most retail jobs end at 8 o'clock at night in France. News is a big deal. It goes on for 45 minutes. France is more a middle-class rugby playing society, not like the UK, where it's an upper-class sport. So that's why they kick off quite late. France is mostly south of Paris, or sort of on a parallel with Lyon, southwest of France, played sport. There are two big clubs in Paris. But almost all the big rugby happens in Paris. There's a certain irony in that, and not in Toulouse. What are your thoughts? Initially, we've seen the French team. No Boks team yet.
So, Boks team was announced literally 2 minutes before we came on. So, some gamesmanship here by Rassie, waiting for the French to first release their team or first announce their team. Here's my take. Boks by 10. I think the French have already lost this game mentally. They've accused us of trying to spy on them. They're saying we stole the World Cup from them. To be honest, we've won this game just in the head. I mean, yeah, that's my take. Boks by 10.
Yes, very interesting you say that, because the last 4 times that the teams have met, going backwards from the World Cup quarterfinal, where there's a revenge out there, it was a 1-point game. Before that, France won in a 4-point game. Before that, the Boks won in a 3-point game. And before that, in a 1-point game. So traditionally, the last little while in the Fabien Galtier era, the games have all been super, super tight. Now, it's quite interesting.
So what's your take then?
I just think it's going to be super close. I was just having a look at the injury problems that the French have got. They got a super cool halfback pairing, probably as good as ours in terms of being able to rival that. Maxime Lucu's on the bench. I don't even think he's the 4th best scrum half in France, but due to injury problems, and he's always turning up, and he's got leadership qualities, I think he makes the team. They probably are the only team in world rugby that can match us up front, but I think with a key few injuries, I'm going to have to go that, the Boks stand a good chance of squeaking through again. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the French come really, really hard.
Okay, I see you're a fence sitter there, because I guess it's your new home.
Well, my mum was French, so
Scotland All Blacks.
Yes, you sent me a statistic about home ground advantage, and the All Blacks have won 17 times in a row at Murrayfield, going all the way back to 1935. So I guess expect some more of the same. I don't feel like it's going to be a big blowout game either, because Scotland have made quite a lot of advances under what is a pretty solid coaching team. I mean, they play an interesting brand of rugby. I think the All Blacks will win, but it won't be a massive win. It won't be.
So I'm putting down ABs, All Blacks by 15. Although I am being generous to the Scots. It's probably going to be higher, but let's go 15. Italy, Australia.
Wow. Yeah, when I had a look at some of the games outside of South Africa's game, there's not much happening, right? I mean, I think Italy have got a chance always in front of their home crowd. I'm always amazed at the support that Italian rugby gets in Italy. Again, it's a very regional sport and confined to the northern part of the country, and a growing and much better with the URC inclusion. I think Italy have got a chance, but if I have to stick my neck out, I'm going to say Australia will win this one, but Italy have a chance.
So I'm saying Australia by less than 10. But yeah, I think they can come close, Italy, but nah. Ireland, Japan, another blowout.
Yeah, this will be a blowout. I think maybe Ireland. It's interesting. I had a chat with a friend about the aging Ireland squad, and rugby in Ireland is confined to just 4 big clubs, but they should easily beat Japan. And lastly, Wales, Argentina. Will the winless Wales finally win one, or no?
Nah. I'm saying the South rules. Argentina by 15. Yeah, probably more even. Cool.
And then one, Mr. Peter, that got me really thinking. Sports viewership in South Africa. So just remind us how sports is shown on television and other media in South Africa.
So we've obviously got SuperSport, which is a subscription broadcaster. They basically buy up all the rights. Now, in South Africa, there was a law kind of put in place called the Sports Broadcasting Services Regulation. It was in 2010, but amended in 2021, where it says that some sporting codes fall under sports of national interest, meaning that they need to be shown on free-to-air as well. So the PSL, the Premier Soccer League, is one of those codes. So although SuperSport has paid R1 billion for the rights, whatever the amount is, some games are shown on SABC, including all the cup finals, including the Soweto Derby and other bigger games.
Okay, because that was the next one I was going to ask you. I remember a comment from Irvin Cause, the PSL chairman, saying that, hey, look, there was the Nedbank Cup final last year, and he said it attracted more viewers, nearly 10 million viewers, and that was more than the World Cup final, in which obviously South Africa wasn't playing, but France, Argentina, and Qatar. So in terms of the big granddaddy of them all, is there anything else in South Africa that even comes close to Chiefs Pirates game?
From a live sport and viewership, nothing, except maybe a Springbok game when it's also broadcast simultaneously on SABC. So what the SABC does, SABC brings the numbers, but obviously SuperSport has the financial muscle. So if you look at other codes like the SA20 cricket,
yes,
nice viewership on SuperSport. The stadiums are always full. I mean, it's a great tournament, but it actually gets less viewership than the previous Mzansi 20 tournament that was shown exclusively on SABC. So it just shows that sport in South Africa does need the public broadcaster to get to the masses. Otherwise, it's gonna remain the exclusive purview of the rich.
Yeah, and as we pointed out, that's where Sia watched his heroes playing rugby. So there's only one way to get it out there, and that's to have a stable SABC. I was quite interested to have a look at the Facebook and Instagram profiles of some of the big clubs, and Sundowns has 1.1 million on Instagram, which is more than Pirates, because on Facebook, Pirates nearly has 5 million. It's obviously dwarfed by Chiefs is 5.4, but Sundowns has less. And then I did a little bit more digging. Cricket South Africa actually has quite a big followership, but it's probably a large portion of that is from India, and that's reflected.
I would say that.
Yeah, that's reflected.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, sorry. That's reflected also by the fact that all the franchises in the SA20 have Indian owners, and Cricket South Africa's biggest revenue is from India, is broadcasting money from India. So that makes 100% sense in my view.
So then you have a look at the actual players. Siya Kolisi's got 1.5 million followers on Instagram, but AB de Villiers got nearly 29 million. So obviously,
but again, how many of those are from the subcontinent?
Yeah, I would bet the vast majority of them. But here's an interesting one that I scratched. There's an analytics data group called 80/20, and they do like quite broad data stuff around sport. They said that they found out that 1 million people say they attended a netball match, okay, in South Africa. So this is a professional netball match or varsity netball match. This is sort of a high-level netball match. But 84% of those are women and 81% of those are black women. So it's an interesting one that's watched live by a lot of people. I know Spa had quite a big sponsorship there, not just of the local league, but also of the national ladies team.
Yeah, look, I mean, again, that stat is probably correct. But it doesn't translate into like TV viewership, as you say.
Yeah.
So it's live attendance, but for some reason they're not pulling in the TV viewership, which is a pity.
Ha 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 ha. Like you said on a WhatsApp to me, this one's going to be a tough one. I have 3.
I'm gonna have to ask you to go first. Sash. The greatest once-off performance by a South African, either individual or a team. Let's go, Mr. Narishkin.
Okay, so then I did particularly the kicking discipline, so both rugby and football. So I had a look at some of the really awesome ones. Joel Stransky's 92nd minute drop kick at the 95 final. Mark Williams's brace, 73 and 75th the minute again in the AFCON final in 96. Yanni de Beer's 4 drop kicks in 99 that booted England out the World Cup. Probably the most famous, Piwe Shabalala's 55th minute opening goal at the World Cup, and Frans Stein's 50-meter kick. But there's one kick that stands out for me and makes this list. That's Cheslin Colby's rundown of Thomas Ramos's kick. And at 12-all, it was so critical. It silenced the crowd, and look where we got after that. So that is my number 1.
Oh, geez, only one. Okay.
No. I have others if you want.
Oh, sorry. You said that's the number 1. Okay. So, okay. So I approach this very differently from you. So for me, I think the greatest once-off performance by South African, I've got it number 1, Chad Leclos, 200-meter butterfly, 2012 Olympics, where he beat Michael Phelps, the greatest Olympian of all time, by 0.05 seconds. I think as a once-off performance, probably the greatest.
Is that where
number
you slapped the water and
yes. Number 2, I've got one that most people would probably argue. I've got Bafana beating Ghana 3-0 in the 1996 AFCON, in the AFCON semis. And why that and not the final is because Ghana were the 2 times defending champions. They'd won the AFCON in 92 and 94. And they had world stars, Abedi Pele, Tony Yeboah. So for me, I've got Bafana 3-0 against Ghana in the semi-final as the second greatest once-off performance by a South African team. Number 3, Frith van der Merwe.
I got that one too.
Winning the 1989 Comrades down run in 5 hours 54. First woman to break the 6-hour barrier. But what was more impressive for me was the fact that she finished 15th overall.
Yeah.
And then that record stood until 2023 when Gerda Steyn broke it. So those would be my top 3 all-time greatest once-off performances by South African teams or athletes.
Okay, so I also picked Frith's run because just a few weeks before that, she actually won the 2 Oceans as well. And that was a record that stood for about 30 years too. So 1989 was obviously a good year for her. But this comes from an amateur era where she was running professional times. She was an English school teacher from Benoni, ran for Benoni Northerns, a little bit like Bruce Fordyce, running for just the local club. What's also interesting about that, there was a stage where she might have finished inside of the top 10. So
Wow.
that would have meant
Yeah.
that she would have effectively won a gold medal. I'm not too sure what they would have done then to the 11th placed woman. Would they have given her a gold medal? But then
Yeah.
lastly, I've got one, Mr. Peter, that you missed. I
Go
cannot
for
believe
it.
it.
Okay, so funny enough, so I've got three that are unlikely to miss out. So one, Springboks beating Australia in the 1995 Rugby World Cup. That was
Yes.
our opening game down in Newlands. Also, the Aussies were the defending champions.
Yes.
And I don't think many people gave us a chance. Obviously, that win propelled us, to the final where we won that. Josiah Tugwane,
Yeah.
winning marathon at the 96 Olympics. The guy had been shot in the face about 2 months before.
Yes. Yes.
And he goes on the greatest stage and he wins the Olympic marathon. And then three, Proteas winning the World Test Championship final. Not many people gave them a chance. And so those would be my six. Ted, Bafana, Frith, and then these other three that are just unlucky to miss out.
Yeah, I don't know. That for me that's one of my top three. All-round team performance, brilliantly led by Temba Bavuma, 100 for the ages by Markram, 9 wickets for Rabada, but 3 each for Lungi Ngidi and Marco Janssen. One of the best moments for me in live sporting, seeing it live. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what everyone else says, but there's just been so many great performances by South African teams and athletes. We're blessed as a country. Cool.
And then, Mr. Peter, our top 5. What do you have for me, or do you want me to go first?
Let me ask you 3 quick ones that are related to the topics we spoke about today. First one, which union did young Rassie coach as the 2005 Currie Cup champions?
I think that must have been the Cheetahs we played at. That was the first he played at because he went to University of Bloemfontein, right?
Yeah. So Vrystaat, they beat Blue Bulls in the final. It was their first win since 1976.
Whoa.
So young Rassie brought something to bloom there. Number 2, you might know this one. Bruce Fordyce won 9 Comrades marathons. Who has won the second most Comrades titles?
Oh, he's a Russian. I can see him here. It's like Blotov or Kotov or something like that. He's got 7. A Russian, he's got 7. Shev. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me.
Elena Nugalieva.
Oh, she won. Yes,
she won 8.
She won 8.
So I think you may have got the Russian part right, but you got the wrong gender.
Did her twin sister ever win? She did, right?
Her twin sister won too. So probably as a family, they probably got the most.
They got 10, yeah.
Yeah, so that's amazing. Cool. One last one. We mentioned earlier. I don't know if we did mention earlier, but Rassie's test record is a 73% win record as a coach. Who has the highest Springbok win record of all time?
Well, there's one fellow who coached the 95 World Cup where he had 14 from 14, but then, very interesting guy, Kitch Christie. He was very sick at the time. I think in the team huddle, just before the game where they all had a little bit of a squeeze, I think he broke 2 ribs. Or maybe that was the year-end tour after they'd won the World Cup. Very sick. And, I can't imagine 14 from 14 ever being beaten. I think Nick Mallett's got a pretty high one at 74% or so. Interestingly, Fabian Galtier.
Gary Taffman is just a touch above Sia at 72%. Sia is sitting at 71.3. So we've those are captains, sorry. Coaches. Sorry, I'm looking at captains.
74%, I think that's for Nick Mallett. He was on that incredible streak of 17 from 17 there. I've got one for you. How many South African-born players have played rugby for France? Off the top of your head, Mr. Peter. It's a really tough one.
I'm gonna go 15.
It's actually 11. So starting in 1990 with Bishop's old boy Eric Melville, and all the way through to the last one to play is Paul Willemse, who played 32 times for Les Bleus. Went to some pretty interesting schools around here. A guy by the name of Bernard Leroux, I don't know if you know him, played 49 times for France. He went to Dirkie Ace High School in Moorreesburg. I don't even know where that is. I had to look on a map, but it's on the west coast. It's about 100 kilometers north of Cape Town. Then I have an incredible question for you. In the 2025 Craven Week team from Eastern Province, okay, where did the most players come from and where was the coach from?
Sure. So for EP Craven Week.
Eastern Province Craven Week.
I mean, traditionally you would have probably gone with Gray, but clearly by the
That's
way
the
you
right
asked the
answer.
question.
That's the
Is that
right
the right
answer.
answer?
That's the right answer.
Okay, I mean, it's kind of, yeah.
And then where is the coach from?
Was the coach from Framesby?
No, amazingly, he comes from the old school of Rassie Erasmus, Dispatch. So
Dispatch.
Elric van Vieren. And a grey boy captained the team in 2024, and Elric was coach. So maybe history will repeat itself there with so Rassie's old school handed the coach to Eastern Province, and Sia's old school handed the captaincy and most players to Eastern Province.
Sure, okay. That's very interesting.
Lastly, I want to ask you, if you had to guess, as a participation sport in France, where does rugby feature? What number? Tennis is at 1 million people, and football is obviously number one over tennis. But where do you think rugby features?
Probably fourth.
It's way down in 7th place. Team sports like handball, volleyball, basketball, much, much higher.
Jeez. Wow. I mean, I know basketball is big, but I didn't realize it would be that much bigger, that much higher.
I suppose it's a regional sport rather than a national sport. Maybe that's why. And it's a very interesting one. If we have 30 seconds, the reason why rugby is mostly played in the south of France is because during the Second World War, when France administration was given to the socialists in Vichy France, because rugby was an amateur sport and not a professional sport, the Nazis cancelled all professional sports and said amateur sports can flourish. Vichy France, the south. Guess why rugby is strong in the south? It's because they encourage the playing of rugby. So that's another reason why rugby is really strong. Mr. Peter, until next time.
Awesome, man. Thank you. That was a great one. See you next Monday.
We'll see you next Monday, and hopefully with happiness for Sia and Rassie.
Oh, cheers.
Ciao.